Hello, and thanks for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be called Don't Give Power to the Noise. This one's for anyone who's felt frustrated when people, be they celebrities, strangers online, or folks we know personally, say things that just seem stupid, off base, or outright insulting. It's all about managing our reactions and figuring out what deserves our energy and what doesn't. Let's be real. We're surrounded by noise. Every day, there's some new headline, some social media post, some person who just wants to stir the pot. Sometimes it's celebrities making outrageous statements for attention, or people in our lives throwing out thoughtless comments that get under our skin. And it's so tempting to want to jump in and react, to set the record straight or call out the nonsense. But here's the thing. When we respond, we're actually giving life to that noise. We're feeding it, making it stronger. It reminds me of that old question. If a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? The noise only matters if we're there to listen to it, react to it, or amplify it. If we let it go unacknowledged, it doesn't really exist for us. So by choosing not to react, we're taking away its power. It's like depriving a fire of oxygen. Our attention is the oxygen. Without it, the fire dies down. This doesn't mean we should never engage with others or speak up when it matters. It's not about letting people treat us poorly or ignoring every single thing that bothers us. There's a big difference between having a meaningful conversation and just reacting to every bit of drama someone tries to throw our way. This is something I've been practicing myself, especially in situations where someone's just saying things to provoke or pick a fight. Like, sometimes a family member will try to start an argument, and instead of jumping in, I just let them talk. I found that if I stay quiet and don't react, the moment passes pretty quickly. Often they just move on, because without my reaction, there's no fuel to keep that fire going. And this tactic goes for the online world too. Sometimes people will say things on social media that we totally disagree with or that feel downright offensive. In these moments, it's easy to feel like we have to say something, like we need to prove them wrong or defend ourselves. But honestly, most of the time, responding just pulls us into their drama and gives them exactly what they want: attention. When we stay silent, we're essentially saying, I'm not giving this my energy, and that's a powerful stance to take. Now, I get it. There's a valid argument for standing up for yourself and not letting people disrespect you. No one wants to feel like they're letting others walk all over them. And I'll admit, it's not always easy to keep quiet, especially when emotions run high. But there's a difference between speaking up when it truly matters and getting pulled into pointless arguments that don't lead anywhere productive. Sometimes, taking the high road isn't about letting people win. It's about knowing that some battles just aren't worth fighting because they drain you more than they're worth. I think of it this way. If someone's trying to get a rise out of you, they're like a person shouting into a void, hoping for an echo. If you don't respond, there's no echo, and eventually, they stop shouting. It's a pretty simple concept, but it can make a huge difference. And yeah, it's easier said than done, especially if you're someone who likes to address things head-on. But I promise, the more you practice this, the more natural it feels. You start to realize that a lot of things people say don't even need a response. They're just noise. For me, this approach has become a bit of a personal experiment. I've tested it with different situations, like when a family member or friend tries to start something. If I just sit back and let them say what they need to say, without adding my 2 cents, they usually run out of steam pretty fast. I've noticed that they often say their piece, and then they're over it. They don't bring it up again, they don't try to escalate, and they move on. It's a cool trick. But again, it takes practice and patience. And sometimes, yeah, you might have to bite your tongue, but it's worth it for the peace it brings. So, next time someone says something that gets under your skin, whether it's a stranger online, a coworker, or even a friend, try not to give it power. Let it hang in the air, untouched, and see what happens. Change the subject, or simply don't acknowledge it. You'll be amazed at how quickly people stop when they realize they're not getting the reaction they want. It's about standing firm in your own energy and not letting anyone pull you out of that place. People can say whatever they want. That's their noise. But you don't have to listen to it. You're in control of where you place your attention, and by refusing to engage with the noise, you're keeping that power for yourself. In the end, remember, not every comment deserves a response, not every fight is worth having, and not every opinion needs to be heard. Sometimes, silence really is the best answer. It's a lesson in self-respect and self-control. And yeah, it's a bit of a challenge at first, but once you start seeing how much more peaceful things can be, you'll wonder why you ever wasted your energy on pointless noise in the first place. So take a breath, hold back, and watch how that silence empowers you. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rant, signing out. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.